Hi, I'm Kenny Joya. Welcome to another one of my tutorials. In this video series, we're going to learn how to record and produce your band in Reaper. And this is part 4 of that series. Now to make the drums sound better, let's add some EQ and compression to each of the tracks. We'll start with the kick, we'll solo it, so we just hear that track. Then we'll go to this button right here, the effects button. And if we click that, it opens up this dialog where we can add effects to our tracks. Now, as I mentioned before, with the volume and pan, everything we do here on the track effects doesn't affect the recording. It just affects what we hear back. So we're really doing this to make sure we got a good sound at the mic coming in, but we could always change this after the recording. We're not committing to it. So let's go to the Reaper plugins right here. These are the ones that come with Reaper, so I know you have them. And we'll start off with a compressor. This one's called Recomp, and it's a pretty good generic compressor. This way we can control the dynamics of the kick drum. So the loud hits and the soft hits don't vary as much. So it's more controlled. So we'll double click it. I'll bring the ratio up to 4:1, and we'll adjust the threshold to make sure it grabs the kick drum. Have the drummer play. And we can see right up here the gain reduction. That's how much we're compressing the kick. We can adjust the attack to be faster to grab the transients or let them go by making it slower. And we can adjust the release to be faster so the compression bounces back a lot quicker. It's more responsive, or make it slower so it's a bit looser. It's pretty subtle, but it does tighten it up. Now let's add an EQ to it to make it sound fatter. So we can hit add over here, and we can just double click right in this space. And that puts the next effect after the previous one. So the EQ is going to come after the compression. So again, we'll choose the Reaper plugins, and we'll go right here to Re-EQ, which is the EQ that comes with Reaper. Double click that one, and it opens up an EQ. Again, it's the compression first, then the EQ. Now the nice thing about the EQ that comes with Reaper is we can make it as big as we want. So let's drag it out so it's bigger. Let's make this kick sound fatter. We'll start off with a low shelf. And what that's going to do, it's going to boost from the frequency we choose all the way down. So if I bring it up right here, it boosts this frequency all the way down. So it's a little smoother than a parametric EQ, like this one, which is called a band EQ or a peaking EQ, as it only boosts or cuts the frequency chosen. So we'll use the shelving to make that kick sound bigger. Let's hear it. Right about there feels good. Then we'll use a band filter to cut out the lower mid-range to make it sound even deeper. We have it set to about 400 Hertz, and we're cutting about 3 dB. Let's compare before and after. And this button up here will turn on and off the EQ. And if we want to bring out the attack, we could boost the upper mid-range right here using a parametric EQ or a band EQ. Just a bit of that brings out the attack, or the click, in the kick. At about 2 kilohertz. Now we could bypass the whole channel right from here. This button, see it turns red? That means we're not hearing the effect, which includes the compressor and the EQ. I think it sounds better. Now let's move on to the snare. We'll do the same thing right here, click it, add a compressor, the recomp, set a ratio to 4:1, bring down the threshold, and see how it affects the snare. It just tightens it up a bit. Now let's add some EQ after the compressor. Just double click right here, go to the re-EQ right here. Again, let's make this bigger. And let's start off by adding some top end. If I bring this one up here, notice over here, it's a high shelf. So again, it affects that frequency all the way up, as opposed to a parametric that just boosts that frequency right around here. So what that does is it makes the EQ sound more subtle, not as peaky, so it'll sound a bit prettier in the top end. Check it out. If we used a peak EQ, or a band EQ, or a parametric EQ, like this, it sounds a bit different. I prefer the shelving for this. Double click it to turn it back on. It just makes the snare sound a bit prettier. And to make it sound beefier or more fat, let's bring up some lower mid-range. Right about there feels good. So let's hear that with the rest of the drums. Sounded pretty good. Now in the next video, we're going to work on the tom sound and the overhead sound. Let's do that.